Welcome to part 2 of our conversation with Dewald Olivier at Red Meat Industry Services. If you missed part 1, you can find it on any of our major platforms, including LinkedIn, YouTube, or our podcast page at chickenfacts.co.za. Let's continue our conversation with Dewald. What are the most important ways that the import industry can support the red meat sector, whether it's through SPS compliance or technical support or helping to build skills and capacity in the value chain? Is there a way we can better support the sector?
Yeah, definitely. I think import industry plays a definite and a far more strategic role than what simply supplying product into our markets. As you mentioned, at best, imports can also help stabilize the sector and strengthen our value chain. Importers are often deeply experienced, and as you indicated, in the SPS compliance and specific international standards, and this knowledge can be invaluable to the domestic sector, particularly if and when it comes to understanding what export markets require, how risk is assessed, how compliance systems are structured, for example. Sharing all of that technical understanding could help South Africa maintain credibility with trading partners and improve our overall market access. And I think that's where one of the biggest possible interventions or assistance can lie. Secondly, I think importers can support skills and capacity building, as you mentioned. Well, this could include contributing expertise in cold chain management, specifically, as we mentioned, logistics, quality assurance maybe, and also traceability, and the whole documentational and through follow through with regards to and within traceability. This is definitely know-how, is how know-how is transferred and the knowledge is transferred, which is very important. And that's, I think, to me, the second very important factor or part where importers can play a role, and we can definitely use that to improve efficiency. And then lastly, I think imports can also obviously play a major role in counter-cyclical role. During periods of disruption like we had now with foot and mouth disease, or other outbreaks or supply shocks. But very carefully, this should be managed and very responsibly and obviously transparently. Imports can help stabilize availability and specific stabilized prices for consumers, which in the long run obviously helps everybody. But obviously without undermining local producers. And the key is definitely alignment. That's how I see it. We need to align, and imports must complement domestic production. We know that we consume 96% of all beef within the South African context and only export 4%. But the fact is there is a role to play for imports and should not be displaced. But it requires coordinated engagement between the industry, regulators, traders, and the like.
Now, outside of support from the import industry, what are the primary barriers that you're experiencing with regard to exports?
I think our main concerns definitely is not external, it's internal. It's negotiations internally with regards to our department on finalizing health certificates, and getting the necessary approvals to export. It sounds very funny, but I think the export markets are there, without giving ourselves a pat on the back. But I can tell you that South African red meat is highly sought after worldwide. It's an affordable red meat that do fit and comply to very many standards internationally. And we are really, I'm repeating myself, but sought after with regards to, specifically in the Middle Eastern markets, and to Eastern Europe. There's definitely a lot of markets, and we get phone calls and requests, I think, on a monthly basis with regards to international markets looking for a product. So to your question, our main concern is internally. And I think it's setting up structures to ensure that there's a smooth process and not an ad hoc process of approval or finalization of health certificates, because that's our main way that we trade. It's the SPS certification, but it's on animal health and the certification of health certificates.
Now, you said that you're exporting about 4% of production.
Correct.
Is there a percentage or a goal that you have in mind in terms of how you'd like to expand on exports?
Yeah, so we've got a red meat strategy 2030. Obviously, foot and mouth disease has come and disrupted a bit of that. But our aim is still, maybe we'll lower it, but to increase our exports to 20% by 2030. So we would like to see exports grow exponentially. And our target percentage, as I indicated, is 20% of local production.
Thank you, Dewald. Is there anything you'd like to add to the conversation over and above what we've discussed today?
Obviously, and it's sometimes it's a bit touchy, the whole import scenario, and the fact that there's a probability and a possibility that let's call it product from other international markets can enter. But it's a give and take. We sometimes forget, Jennifer, that within the red meat sector, we're the second biggest importer of offal in the world. We are, if not the biggest importer of liver in the world. We don't slaughter enough animals to have enough liver, not only consumer-based in eating it, but also we actually create perfume from the oil, liver oil. So we import. I mean, those products obviously are excluded from the ad valorem tariff. So that's something that's also I won't say a problem, but it's also always an issue of bone of contention. I'm part of the International Meat Secretariat, and every time we meet on a global scale, we have discussions with regards to our 40% ad valorem tariff. So what it means is that for every R1 value imported into South Africa on meat products, 40% of that is added as a tax.
Yeah.
That have, to an extent, a negative effect, but not necessarily. And the reason being is that the rand dollar value is so low that you can import, let's call it beef from anywhere at dollar value, still cheaper than what we produce it in South African context because of the dollar value. On the one hand, and secondly, we need to understand that beef worldwide is a niche. Well, it's an expensive product. It's a higher value product. So they're not going to sell it lower to South Africa than what they would sell it internationally. So there's no real gain in international markets like, for example, Argentina or Brazil, or for that matter, Australia or the US, to sell their beef or lamb within the South African context, unless it's something that they've got oversupply of. There's no real value for them. However, as I indicated, there's certain parts and certain products that we do use more. Offal, yes, many. And I mean, winter is coming. So what usually happens, we as a country, switch between heads and feet, chicken, and beef offal in winter. So in winter times, the people cook more beef offal, and in summer and summer times they eat chicken heads and feet. So winter is coming, and we can only assume that we're going to sell a lot more offal this winter.
Thanks to Dewald Olivier at Red Meat Industry Services. Thank you for listening.